Hello, Nigerians. Nigeria is full of men writing books and writing their role in history after people who could have challenged them are dead. Today, I want to talk about one most of those important moments in Nigeria's history, the ABURI Accord, Gowon And Ojukwu'S, and how chance for peace was turned into war. Come with me on this journey. The reason this is so dear to me is because I grew up in a military background, a top officer's child, and one who was once a Nigerian attaché to England. Now, this is one part of history that I've struggled with, looking at it for both ends, both sides of the coin, and everybody having their own history to tell through that moment in time, 3.5 years in Nigeria's history of a gory, deeply painful war and experience, one which some part of the west of Nigeria doesn't really know, because in that time that war was happening and people were being buyed in the eastern region of Nigeria, other parts of Nigeria were pretty having their life living, celebrating. Nothing was really happening. It was as if nothing was really happening, but there was a war. Nigeria was at war with a region of itself. Come on that journey with me. The Gowon's book. Gowon's book very recently told a part of the story that doesn't seem true, or he chose a style of the story that he thinks he wants to tell the world. But what does his conscience tell him? It's not what we can judge, it's what only God can truly judge. When he turned 80, I was excited when he said he wanted to talk about the history of Nigeria. I looked forward to it, and I was so disappointed because he had nothing to say. In fact, he really never said anything. And that bothered me because it worried me that what exactly are we hiding? What is the truth that these men were hiding? But at the time he turned 80, the man Ojukwu was no more alive to defend himself or even to counter what Gowon was saying. At this junction, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm going to put together and speak to us about. I would like your comments in the comment section, because we can dialogue and talk about it. If you think what I've said is different, put it there. Gowon's book, Babangida's book. Your discomfort that Ojukwu is not here to answer them. My own father fought on the Nigerian side. So this is not theory for me. This is family history towards the Aburi. Facts, not myth. I'm not giving you myth, I'm giving you facts. After the January 1966 coup, July counter coup, massacres of Easterners in the north, and mass displacement, Nigeria was at the brink of a collapse. Ojukwu refused to attend any meeting in the north or west because he believed his safety and that of his delegation could not be guaranteed. Aburi was chosen as a neutral ground for discussion. Who was there? Gowon, the head of state then, Ojukwu, Eastern Region, other regional military governors, service chiefs, IG of police, chaired by Ghana's Lieutenant General Ankara. Okay, power of the federal military government to rest in the Supreme Military Council, with decision requiring concurrences of the military governors. No use of force to resolve the crisis. Reorganization of the armed forces, regional controls of troops, and more autonomy for regions. Essentially, a Confederate tilt. That was what they were pursuing. Aburi was not just a meeting. It was the last serious attempt to keep Nigeria together by the decentralizing power and rebuilding trust. In his book, Gowon said that he was mad with fever when he got to the Aburi. So he's saying to us that he must have been very sick. And so whatever he signed, his eyes was not clear enough to see it. Does that sound like a cap? It deeply sounds like a cap. And it deeply feels like an abuse and a slap on a region of people. What I feel would have come through would have been an explanation in empathy, an apology to actually say that, look, that was the time when we were young men and we took decisions best known to us, saying that we were trying to safeguard the sanctity and the unity of a country. But of course, we had a part of the region that was internally displaced and severely bruised. But of course, he's telling us that that word he said by the 1970 to 1971, no vanquish, no victory, no vanquish, or no victory, no victor. He's trying to say to us that that was a statement of joke. Let us try to complete this and see. After the ABURI, Lagos officials and permanent secretaries reviewed the resolution and argued that implementing them fully would paralyze the federal government and turn Nigeria into a loose confederation. Do you see what these guys were all about? Gowon's government later issued decree number 8, which Ojukwu and many Easterners believed watered down the spirit of ABURI and re-centralized key powers. So it's all about fear, it's all about ego, it's all about what they wanted, what the North wanted, what the powers that were running Lagos as the state capital at that time really wanted, and the idea that they looked at what they had signed in ABURI and how dangerous that could be for their interest. Remember in one of my videos, I said this political elite, it's all about interest. Whether they are wearing uniforms or they pull the uniforms and become head of state into presidency, democratically elected, which we know is never election, is selection in Nigeria, right? It is all about their interest. To me, ABURI failed not because the words were nuclear, but because the trust was already broken. Ojukwu believed ABURI meant real autonomy. Gowon's team, under pressure from civil servants and power interest in Lagos, pulled back. And when leaders reinterpreted peace agreement after leaving the room, war is not far behind. The Gowon, the Babangida story, half of a history. This is my writing. Watch with me. Gowon and other northerners, central figures, have over the years given their own accounts. For me, wish it away. Interviews, speeches, now books, framing ABURI as either misunderstood or impractical. That's how they framed it today, because he is now the next person writing his own book. Ojukwu, who published his own side earlier and spoke extensively, is now dead. New books can't be directly challenged by him. Of course, Babangida, of course, waited. In my opinion, these men are smart by heart, because history has a very good way of dealing with them. There's something deeply unfair about men who held power, who refused certain compromises, now writing books decades later to explain themselves when the man on the other side of the table is no longer alive to answer them. That is not history. That, for me, is editing history. My father fought on the Nigerian side. He believed he was fighting for one Nigeria, of course, as a military man. But even he would admit, if we are going to tell this story, we must tell it in full. And you know why? When I say my father fought on the side of the army, my father was in Pay and Records, which is now called Finance Corps. So not the battlefront, whatever side of the coin you will turn it, but the Pay and Records, they that pay the soldiers in the war front. And my father said something very clearly. He said the military will destroy Nigeria. And we saw it decades down the line. We're seeing it today as it's plain. military men who turned and pulled their uniforms into civilians, and their civilian cronies and counterparts are the ones with their hands destroying Nigeria. Let's wrap this up. For me, a true statesman like General Gowon would not just write a book. He would also look the Igbo people in the eye and say, we failed you. We did not protect you. We did not honor Aburi. And we are sorry. This is what we demand of Gowon. Please ensure that this video goes viral. This is what we demand of Gowon. Not to just write a book, but to say that they failed the Eastern region. To say that they did not protect the little young Igbo child that was thrown to war. The Igbo pregnant woman that was split in the middle. And to honor the apology, to honor the ABURI Accord, and to say deeply that he's sorry. Not tell us today that the guns were not shot at people. They were shot at Palm Front. To me, it's deep saddening. It's shameful. It tells you that the Nigerian state reflects the abuse of these leaders who have become old men. The ignorance of these leaders who have become old men. The decadent, the wicked hearts of these leaders who have become old men. And of course, the only person that they answer to is the Creator. Aburi was not a misunderstanding. It was a promise that was later edited in Lagos. When leaders sign peace abroad and rewrite it at home, war is not an accident. It is the consequence. My writing. History is now being written by men who had power and survived it, while the men who opposed them no longer are here to answer it. That is not balance. Again, I will say my father fought for one Nigeria, but one Nigeria without truth is just geography. It's not justice. The Igbo people did not just wake up and ask for Biafra. They watched promises like Aburi die in slow motion. A real leader does not use a book to raise money from the pain he never fully acknowledged. If Nigeria wants healing, it needs less revisions and more repentance. I will wrap it up. How to keep empathy. This is the solution. For me, I feel that we need leaders who will come out, who are still alive. The Babangidas of this world, the Gowons of this world, the Obasanjos of this world. I know Obasanjo is working very hard to see that the Igbos come to the center. But you see the remaining two, we make a demand that they acknowledge what happened and truly and deeply apologize for what happened. Not because the army doesn't have a code. I believe strongly that the army has a code, but because we are a people. And in order for us to go from the aesthetics of just saying that we are one people, we leave it in real form and in truth, then we can hand over a Nigeria that is equitable, that is just, that is fair, and that is balanced. I wrap by saying, all of this as someone whose own father wore the Nigerian uniform during the war. I honor his service. I honor the dead of all the sides. But honoring them means telling the truth. Aburi was a chance for peace. It was not honored. And millions paid the price. If we are going to write books today, let them not just defend our decisions. Let them also admit our failures. Because without that, the Igbo people and many other peoples will always feel that their own pain was edited out of the Nigerian story. We saw it in Babangida's book. We are seeing it in Gowon's book. I stand as one who is a tribal defender. I defend all the tribes.